ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ 24/7. ಇದು ವಿಶ್ವಾಸದ ಪ್ರತಿಬಿಂಬ.
My dear viewers, entrepreneurs, are your tax problems chronic? Do not panic. This is Namma Kudla Tax Clinic. Here we will present you our experts tax tonic. I am CA SS Nayak. ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್ ಇದರ 274ನೇ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ವಿತ್ ಅಸ್ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ವಿಶ್ಡ್ ಚಾರ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಅಕೌಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹೂ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್. First of all, let us welcome distinguished, experienced and always inspiring and always smiling man with a vision, man with a mission and man with a action, CA Naveen Khariwal. CA Naveen Khariwal, he is in practice as a chartered accountant at Bengaluru for the last 2.5 decades, that is 25 years. He is in practice as a chartered accountant, as partner in Messrs. HC Kincha and Co. and partner in Messrs. HC Kincha and Associates, and he comes from a family of chartered accountants. His grandfather, father and brother are chartered accountants. He is specialized in direct taxes and he was a co-opted member of Direct Taxes Committee of ICAI New Delhi for the year 2021 and currently member of Central Taxes, Corporate Laws and GST Committee of FKCCI Bengaluru, and he is currently member of Study Circle and Study Group of Committee of Chamber of Tax Consultants Mumbai also. Then he was a member in Finance Advisory Committee of the Karnataka State Cricket Association Bangalore also. He himself is a cricketer also, so and he always believes in batting, bowling, fielding as well as umpiring also, because he has moderated many sessions in direct taxes. More than 50 branches of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India were fortunate to have his wide knowledge sharing sessions, and he has been the most sought after resource person in direct taxes in ICAI. So, CA Naveen Khariwal, you are welcome to our show. On behalf of our entire viewers of Namma Kudla, you are welcome to our show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the invite.
It is always our pleasure to invite you in our direct taxes show. We have one more young, energetic, enthusiastic, smart, always smiling CA Sanket S. Nayak. He is the founding partner of SS Nayak and Associates in Bengaluru, having offices in Bengaluru and Mangaluru, and he has completed its CA at the young age of 21 years. He has 12 years of rich experience in the field of auditing, direct taxes, indirect taxes and MSMEs and project financing. So, he has completed his early education from Saint Aloysius and he has also completed his articleship from CA SS Nayak Mangaluru. Then he is certified public accountant, that is the most prestigious accounting body of the world from USA, and he is a registered valuer for securities and financial assets with the IBBI, and he is a life member of Karnataka State Chartered Accountants Association, member of Rotary Bangalore Orchards also, and he has completed DISA course of ICAI and certificate course on concurrent audit conducted by ICAI and also certificate course on valuation by ICAI. He is the most sought after resource person in MSME forums and MSME conclaves conducted by various forums, even in ICAI also. So his specialization is GST, income tax, MSME and startup funding, and he was the first resource person to address on the UDIN when the UDIN was introduced to various ICAI forums. CA Sanket S. Nayak, you are also welcome to this show.
Thank you, sir, for inviting me here.
Okay. So today's topic is tax audit and presumptive taxation. We all know that for non-tax audit cases, 31st July is the last date of filing returns. May it be salaried class or small business cases or professionals, those who are not covered under tax audit under section 44AB of the Income Tax Act. So we thought that now it is the appropriate time. Now another 16-17 days are left for the last date of the filing of the returns, and for tax audit, filing of the tax audit reports 30th September is the last date, and filing of the tax audit cases returns 31st October is the last date. Of course, transfer pricing cases up to 30th November.
Yes.
So it is appropriate time to disseminate knowledge on presumptive taxation as well as tax audit to our viewers. As many of our viewers are from business class as well as MSMEs and salaried class, you can ask any questions to our resource persons on 0824 411 6060 or 0824 411 9090. As a part of ease of doing business, many tax reforms have been taken place for the last 10 to 15 years, that is from time to time. To say few of them, simplified filing of the income tax return, presumptive taxation, tax reforms such as quick processing of returns and refunds. Now that time also has been reduced, the ITR processing duration has been reduced to 10 days, on an average 10 days in 23-24 assessment year when compared to 82 days in assessment year 19-20. Income tax department is also conducting lot of outreach programs and giving tax awareness to the public. And tax reforms, other than that, PAN and Aadhaar link to monitor tax evasion, that also has been done now, and those who are not done, they will be heavily penalized. Then increase in taxable income limit. So new regime of taxation has been also introduced, up to 7 lakhs. The tax slab has been increased to, in case of individuals and HUF. And reduction in tax rates, that has also been done in for corporates. For individuals it has not been done, but in new regime the slabs are very mellowed down, the tax rates. Then faceless assessment and appeals. This is one more sea change or welcome change has been introduced by the department. And random scrutiny. It is not possible to scrutinize all the returns filed by the taxpayers. So random scrutiny on that is computerized basis, it will be selected on some yardsticks. And advance tax payment also, instead of 3 installments, now 4 installments have been introduced to ease out the payment of taxes also. Because of all these measures from time to time by the central government, there is a surge in filing income tax returns. That is, we are happy to say that now 8.18 crore ITRs for assessment year 23-24 are filed. That is for the as on 31st December 23, which earlier it was 7.51 crore for as on 31st December 2022. That is a 9% growth. Even tax collection also, there is a splendid growth in direct tax collection beyond the targeted figures. So, and one more thing is over 30 lakh audit reports have been filed by the end of September 30th, 2023 also, and presumptive taxes. So, 1.5 million taxpayers, they have opted under presumptive taxation scheme in the year financial year 22-23 under section 44AD, 44ADA and 44AE of the Income Tax Act. With this small note background, I would like to call upon our rich, resourceful resource person, CA Naveen Khariwal. CA Naveen Khariwal, now presumptive taxation means you need not have to maintain books of account just on presumptive basis. That means department will presume that this is your income. But as per section 44AA of the Income Tax Act, who have to maintain books of account? Can you just brief?
Yeah, thank you, sir. So let me just brief you on section 44AA. Now, what is 44AA, my dear friends? It is maintenance of accounts by certain persons carrying on business or profession. Now, first of all, let me tell you, professionals should maintain what? Books of accounts. So, what is the section telling? There are professionals and notified professionals. So, they are called specified professionals and notified professionals. How many types are there? There are only 11 types, specified as well as notified. Who are they? It is legal, medical, architectural, accountancy, technical consultancy, interior decoration, engineering, film artist, company secretary, authorized representative, or any other profession which may be notified. So all these, what are they telling? Only these 11 specified professionals should maintain the books of account. That is your day book, ledger, etc. And if you are a doctor, medical practitioner, you should also maintain a daily case register under Form 3C. Now, what about the business? You will be surprised to know, my dear friends, there is no section or there is no rules in the Act which mandates books to be maintained by a businessman. Then why should the assessing officer ask for books of account in scrutiny? Because 44AA subsection 2 says the assessee may maintain such books of account who the business carrying, assessee carrying on business or non-specified professions may maintain such books as may enable the assessing officer to correctly deduce the income therefrom. So be careful, for a businessman, no books are prescribed, but the section is telling you please maintain such books as may enable the AO to correctly deduce the income therefrom. Now, what is the limit for the maintenance of books of account? Suppose you are a specified profession or non-specified profession or business. So if you are individual HUF, my dear friends, the limit is, it is 2,50,000 and it will be 25 lakhs. 2,50,000 is the income and 25 lakhs will be turnover. In case of any other assessee, the law is telling income should be 1,20,000. That means it exceeds 1,20,000 and the turnover is more than 10 lakhs.
10 lakhs.
So this is the sum and substance of 44AA.
Okay. Now, CA Sanket Naik. Now, these are the provisions to maintain books of account. There are some provisions under presumptive taxation scheme where books of account need not be maintained. What are all the, who are all eligible assessees? They need not have to maintain books of account. and what is the ceiling?
Yes, so considering that maintaining the books and getting the audit done in certain cases are very cumbersome, or it may involve a lot of cost and effort involved, there are certain provisions wherein SSCs can opt for presumptive taxation. So who are all these people? One of the most useful sections or prominent section is section 44AD. So section 44AD had an upper ceiling of 2 crore rupees, and even till date for certain cases it's still 2 crore rupees, wherein you can declare 6% of your transactions for digital or banking transactions and 8% of your transactions for cash transactions. Now this is one ceiling. However, in the last earlier budget they have enhanced this ceiling for 2 crore to 3 crores in certain cases only. So which are these cases? Wherein your gross receipts, where it is does not exceed cash, for more than 5% does not exceed cash transactions. In such cases you can even go up to 3 crores. Up to 2 crores you have no such restriction, you can be entirely in cash as well. But if you are in that 2 to 3 crore ceiling, then it is expected that your cash transaction should be less than 5%, cash receipt specifically, in case of presumptive taxation. Now who can opt for these things? Now the scheme is very liberal, it just gives few restrictions actually. One is that you should be a resident. The second thing is that you should be an individual, HUF or a firm. LLPs and companies are not eligible to opt for this scheme. Additionally, you should not be under any agency or commission business. As long as these criteria are being satisfied, normally you can get under 44AD and go under presumptive taxation. This is one of the schemes.
Okay.
Additionally, you have 44AE, which is applicable for transport businesses, and 44ADA, which is applicable for professionals.
CA Naveen Khariwal,
Sir,
what are the provisions for professionals? What is the limit for professionals? And the same has been enhanced to 75 lakhs also from 50 lakhs. Can you just elaborate on that?
yeah, so 44 ADA is covered by all the professionals. So as Sanket, has pointed out a very important point, and he has cleared the confusion, because most of the CS all over India, I am telling you, they are under the impression that the turnover for presumptive taxation has increased from 2 crores to 3 crores. But as he rightly pointed out, only in specific cases, please understand, only in specific cases, as he rightly pointed out, it is increased from 2 crores to 3 crores, only when 95% of the gross receipts is other than by way of cash. And
What about 10 crores? 10 crores also enhanced, no?
Pardon, sir?
10 crores. Enhanced
Yeah,
to
yeah.
10 crores.
Correct. So now what has happened is, no, I was talking only with for presumptive income, that's all.
Okay.
Now we'll come to 44 ADA, sir. So 44 ADA, now as you know, it is applicable to individual and partnership firm other than LLP. In case of 44 ADA, it is not applicable to HUF. First difference between AD and ADA, it is not applicable to HUF. It is applicable to a resident individual or a partnership firm. Now if you see, other than an LLP. So it does not talk about resident, whereas 44 AD is telling resident individual firm other than LLP. If you take ADA, it says only individual or firm other than LLP. Then, who is engaged in a profession referred to in subsection 1 of 44A? We discussed those. 11 professionals only, 44A1. And gross receipts do not exceed 50 lakhs, which is now extended to 75 lakhs.
That is also same condition, 5%.
Yes. Correct.
Receipt
75
should
lakhs
be
not subject to, rightly pointed out by our sir, it is 95% and 5% cash component. So another 2 points I would like to add for this,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
before
please.
AD.
Please.
Now, in this also, if you take 44 ADA, two other provisions are there. They are telling 30 to 38 deductions would be deemed to be allowed. When I opt for 44 ADA, law is telling section 30 to 38 is deemed to be allowed. Depreciation also deemed to be allowed. And WDV I have to calculate as if depreciation has been claimed. So issues may arise. Suppose, a chartered accountant's office, now Sanket has sold a system in his office, has sold a computer in his office. Please remember, whatever sale of computer is there, he has claimed depreciation on that computer. So therefore, that will be taxed under short-term capital gain and it will not form part of turnover. In Sanket's office, they have sold a computer. He's a professional. So if they have sold that computer, my dear friends, don't add that sale proceeds in the 50 lakhs or 75 lakhs as the case may be. Separately, please calculate short-term capital gain. Sir.
Okay, okay, very nice clarification you have given. So, partnership firm, you say that it is applicable for partnership firm also. But partnership firm, it is not beneficial because interest on capital and remuneration to partners, that is deemed to be taken
Correct.
before declaring this. That means after declaring your presumptive taxation limit, thereafter you cannot deduct interest on capital and salary, and you have to straight away start paying taxes from 30%. What is your opinion about this?
Yes, in case of partnership firms, the erstwhile section before these amendments came had a provision actually for allowing remuneration, but the current provision as it stands doesn't allow remuneration and interest on capital to be again allowed against this 8 or 6%. It is considered to be already there in this.
Deemed to be allowed.
Yes, but in case of 44AE, I believe in that section there is provision wherein even after that presumptive limits which they have given, you can still consider remuneration and maybe interest on capital as well. In that particular section should be allowed, but whereas in 44AE,
What is that 44AE?
so 44AE is a simplified section for people engaged in transport business. So any person who is engaged in plying, hiring or leasing of goods carriages, they can opt for this section. Certain limitations are also there in this section. What it says is that one of the conditions is that they should not have more than 10 vehicles, and additionally it distinguishes between heavy goods vehicle and other than heavy goods
LHV.
vehicle. Correct.
Light-
LHV and
LCV, light commercial vehicle.
correct. So light and heavy goods vehicle. So for light vehicles, what it says is that 7,500 rupees for every month or part of the month for every vehicle. As long as you declare these profits, it is considered as the sufficient deemed provision. And for heavy goods vehicle, what it says is that 1,000 rupees per ton of vehicle, gross vehicle weight or unladen weight. This can be for every month should be sufficient to be considered as deemed income. So in these cases, what happens is against the income which arrives at, you may still be eligible to claim any remuneration or interest, but this is only for this particular sector. It doesn't apply for 44AD, neither does it apply for 44ADA.
CA Naveen Khariwal. Now, under section 44AE, remuneration and interest on capital is allowable after calculating the income under 44AE, correct, no? So any other points you want to add under section 44AE for transport operators? Because there is a clear distinction between transport operators and transport contractors. If they are transport operators, based on the number of vehicles they should declare. If they are transport contractors, they can go for 44AD also, correct, no?
I thoroughly agree with you, sir. Correct. Absolutely correct.
If you want to add anything on this transport operator.
What I would like to add is 44AE is applicable to all assessees, not only individual, HUF, firm, LLP, company, because the section itself is telling assessee, that's all it says. In case of an assessee who owns not more than 10 goods carriages at any time during the previous year.
Even companies, LLP also it is there.
It applies to everybody, all and I would agree with my co-speaker.
Very nice. Now, one question will arise then. In case of this transport operator and transport contractor, if they do both the business together, how to compute it?
Wonderful, sir. So, you see our ITR will allow that. So 44AE, not more than 10 goods carriages, you continue to apply 44AE, the return will allow utility. See, it is the law as per the law vis-a-vis the ITR, utility. And for the contractor, I can definitely go for in 44AD also. Nothing stops me in the utility.
Okay.
Utility is the mirror of the law actually. But As per the utility, I can definitely apply both.
Okay. Now this tourist taxi operators and bus transport operators, which section is applicable? Can they file under presumptive taxation?
Tourist taxi and
Tourist taxi operators and
Yeah.
bus transport operators. 44 AD?
I believe 44 AD can be possible because there is no restriction as such prescribed in 44 AD, and I don't think 44 AE fits the description in these
44
cases.
AE is not applicable.
So 44 AD should be possible even in these cases, though there is no express provision. But 44 AD is an open section. I believe it doesn't place any restrictions as long as you are not under any agency, commission, and those restrictions prescribed therein. So as a result, it may be possible for them to take shelter under 44 AD.
Okay. Now there are some rules regulation for choosing presumptive taxation, and exit also there is some rule. Once exit, again entering also there is some rule. Can you talk about just like some traffic rules, one way, two way, signal stopping, signal jumping, red signal, green signal, all these things. Can you just brief about what are the rules governing this presumptive taxation? Entry, exit or re-entry?
Yes, sir. So I would like to summarize that in few sentences. Now, 44 AD, how the section starts, notwithstanding anything to the contrary, contained in section 28 to 43
Yes.
C. So therefore, this section AD will override 28 to 43 C. Now, what are they telling? Eligible SSC, carrying on eligible business. So we discussed already what is eligible SSC, who is eligible SSC, individual, HUF and partnership firm other than LLP. Simple. Next, what is eligible business? So explanation will define who is a eligible business. So eligible business means any business except business of plying, hiring or leasing goods carriages referred to in 44 AE and whose turnover or gross receipts does not exceed 2 crores. Plus, if you go in this section also will tell you 44 AD 6 that this section 44 AD will not apply to a person carrying on profession referred to in 44 AA 1. That means this there is a controversy. It will apply to all non-specified professions. Then it will not apply to a person carrying on income in the earning income in the nature of commission on brokerage or carrying on agency business. So all these persons, SSCs cannot come under 44 AD. Now, once you enter 44 AD, what the law is telling? You can enter, you can opt out. You can opt in, you can opt out. Understand the word opt out and opt in is voluntary in nature. Nothing, it is in the hands of the SSC to opt in or opt out. So the law is telling, once 44 AD 4 is telling, once you guys enter the provisions of 44 AD, then they are telling stay there for the first year as well as next 5 assessment years. For 6 years, please enjoy 44 AD or please suffer 44 AD as the case may be. 44 AD is 4 is telling you stay there for 5 years having entered. If at all you opt out. Now when can you opt out? There are 3 situations, understand carefully. All those questions which may come also I will discuss now itself to avoid any confusion. 3 situations. 1, I voluntarily opt out. I myself want to opt out. See, 3 years have passed by. 4th year I say, I tata bye bye 44 AD, I want to opt out. Law is telling please opt out. When you opt out, there is a violation of 44 AD 4 and you will come to 44 AD 5. What are they telling? In the year in which you opt out, you cannot claim 44 AD plus next 5 years you cannot come in. Next, suppose your turnover itself goes beyond 2 crores. That means what? And now it is 3 crores in certain circumstances. Suppose my turnover goes beyond 2 crores. Therefore, I am forcibly evicted out of 44 AD.
Correct.
I am forced now going to 44 AB clause A. Therefore, they are telling this is not, in my opinion, this is not a opt out voluntarily. It is a opt out by law. So therefore, my dear friends, in my humble opinion, if at the end of the 3rd year, my books were subject to tax audit 44 ABA, I go out, next year I can voluntarily come in again. Because I didn't go out voluntarily. By operation of law only I went out. Next year if my turnover were to come below 2 crores again, I can definitely come back to 44 AD. Because I didn't go out voluntarily. I was evicted by law. Third situation is, suppose in the 3rd year my turnover became less than 1 crore itself. It is only 8 lakhs. Don't worry. So what is the position? Up to 2 crores presumptive income, my turnover itself became less than 1 crore. And my profit also may be 6% or 5% as the case may be. So if it is the first year, there are two situations. If it is the first year, you need not opt for 44AD. New business, first year, turnover less than 1 crore, profit only 5%. Law is telling, don't worry, need not opt for 44AD. Fill up the P&L account, fill up the balance sheet, upload the return as it is.
Okay.
So when you have, in the fourth year also, turnover less than 1 crore, don't worry, they are telling, you can always in the next year come back to 44AD.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what is the provision for NRIs, Sanket? Because in presumptive taxes, this taxation, NRIs are prohibited from this except 44AE because it is all SSCs. So, can you just throw light on this, whether NRIs are eligible or not, and if not, why?
Yes. So the regular 44AD, which is the most popular scheme, that provision expressly prohibits NRIs. But there are other sections which are there for certain NRIs where they can opt for these schemes. So one, there is 44B, which is applicable for shipping businesses, those who are carrying, who can declare 7.5% of their receipts. Then there is 44BB for business of exploration of mineral oils, they can go for 10%. And then there is 44BBA, which is aircraft operators who are non-residents, they can go at 5%. And there is 44BBB, which is 10% of civil construction foreign companies. So these are certain provisions because they may not be having maintaining books of or maintaining books as per Indian regulations, probably since they are non-residents or foreign companies. There are certain simplified provisions for them so that they can easily declare their profits and go get done with their Indian tax obligations.
Other than these specified businesses, they have to compulsorily maintain books of account. Presumptive is not allowed.
Presumptive is not allowed except for those exceptions which we discussed under 44AD or 44AE. But normally, yes, they have to maintain books of accounts as long as they satisfy the provisions of 44AA, which we discussed earlier, which Naveen sir had pointed out. And additionally, they will need to maintain books of accounts, and all the provisions apply, the tax audit provisions, all of these provisions will apply.
One more clarification, CA Naveen. See, then whenever there is a carry forward loss in any business and subsequent year there is a presumptive taxes. As per presumptive taxes, there is a taxable income. Whether then carry forward loss can be set off when you select this presumptive taxation scheme.
Wonderful question, sir. And my opinion, 44AD, you are offering the income under presumptive income or 44AD a presumptive income. Nothing stops you under the Act from claiming the set off of brought forward losses. So 72 business law, 73 speculation law, 74 capital law, 74A loss from owning and maintenance of resources. All these wherever possible according to the law, you can please set off against your presumptive income, including your 32 unabsorbed depreciation, etc.
Because many people are under the confusion. Whenever that is presumptive means you have to pay that year. Carry forward loss cannot be set off.
Definitely, very good question, sir. It can be set off. Section 72 business loss is there, brought forward loss, return was filed in time, and loss carry forward can be set off against the presumptive income of this year.
Okay. Now, tax audit now. Let us come to tax audit. 44AB. Who have to undergo this tax audit? Which kind of SSCs? They have to undergo audit under section 44AB of the Income Tax Act. Can you brief? Who are all the eligible SSCs under section 44AB, that is compulsory audit of books of account under the Income Tax Act?
Yes, this used to be a very simple question until a few years back, wherein we just had to mention the monetary thresholds. But now with presumptive taxation coming in and enhanced limits prescribed in the finance bills, it has become a very complicated provision today. So the easiest provision and the most simplest provision which has been existing from many years is the turnover threshold. If your turnover threshold limit, if it crosses 1 crore rupees, you are supposed to be subject to tax audit. Now, let's say you are a private limited company or an LLP, then in that case you are not eligible for many of these presumptive schemes. In that case, even to date, this 1 crore limit is still applicable. Also,
That means audit under any other law. Those
Yes.
who are having audit under any other law, they need not have to go under tax audit, provided their limit doesn't exceed more than 1 crore turnover.
there are two different provisions. Audit under any other law, they have to comply. Even
Correct.
if they have zero turnover also, they may need, companies will need to do audit.
Correct.
But tax audit will be specifically applicable if their receipts cross 1 crore. Now, the form may change. For them, form 3CA may apply instead of form 3CB. Now, additionally, now let's say my cash transactions, which both receipts and payments are more than 5%. Even to date, the tax audit limit is 1 crore itself. So let's say I am running a restaurant or any other business where cash transactions are on the higher side, definitely it may be more than 5%. In any one of them, receipts or payments, if any one of these cross that 5% threshold, then still it is the 1 crore limit itself which is applicable. Now, additionally, for professionals, what is the limit which is applicable? For professionals, the threshold limit is 50 lakhs. Now, there are certain exceptions which I will discuss. So, the basic limit is 50 lakhs. In case the limit crosses 50 lakhs, they are supposed to go for tax audit. Now, there is a new provision. Many people may be under the impression that the finance minister had announced 10 crores. Where is this 10 crores? You are referring to 1 crore presumptive scheme. You are talking about 2 crores, 3 crores. Where is this 10 crore provision? This 10 crore provision is under 44AB itself. This 10 crore provision was given by the finance minister a few years back. Initially, they had made it 5 crores and then enhanced it to 10 crores. So, what this provision said is that, let's say you are in a business and your gross, both your transactions, both the receipts as well as the payments, if they do not cross 5% in cash transactions, then this 1 crore limit gets substituted for 10 crores. So, let's say your transactions, 95% of it are in banking channels through digital manner or checks or
Both
NEFT.
receipts and expenses.
Yes. So, both the sides of the transactions, receipts as well as payments, if they do not cross 5%, if the cash transactions, in that case 10 crores is applicable. But be careful, 10 crores is only for not doing the tax audit. Books of accounts are still applicable, P&L is still applicable. You have to fill it is not a presumptive scheme. There is a difference between presumptive scheme and not doing an audit. Whereas under presumptive scheme, the tax authorities are not under liberty to ask you the proof of deductions. Whereas under a regular scheme, they can ask you the details of deductions which you have claimed, and you will need to maintain all the records, the books of accounts, and all these details have to be maintained. One more point to be
Then
very
this is what only lip sympathy.
There is no audit as such. There is no reporting from a chartered accountant which is required.
Only that tax audit fees is saved.
Yes.
Okay.
Whether it is saved or not, I don't know, because if you are the disallowances and all these things, it may cost you more than the fees. If you have not properly reported it, then definitely I think the fee is really not the concern, because now tedious disallowances and all these disallowances not going to a proper professional, I think that fees will get covered in that itself.
Let us attend one caller. Hello.
ಹಲೋ
ಆ
ರಾಮರಾವ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ರಾಮ್ ರಾಯರಿ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಆ
Glad to note that 6 CA students of Sri S.S. Naik came out in flying colors in CA final exam.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Sri S.S. Naik. ಉದಯವಾಣಿ ಪೇಪರ್ 12 ಜುಲೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಾಲಮ್ ಉಂಟು, ಕೃತಕ ಬುದ್ಧಿಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರೇರಿತ ಉದ್ಯೋಗ ನಷ್ಟದ ಮೇಲೆ ರೋಬೋಟ್ ತೆರಿಗೆ ವಿಧಿಸಬೇಕೆಂದು RSS ಸಂಬಂಧಿ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಸ್ವದೇಶಿ ಜಾಗರಣ ಮಂಚ ವಿತ್ತ ಸಚಿವೆ ನಿರ್ಮಲಾ ಸೀತಾರಾಮನ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬೈ ರೋಬೋಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್? ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಡಿಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ Controller General of India. Apart from internal and external audit in banks, RBI inspection team audits all banks. Next, Aadhaar is there, PAN is there. Now Aadhaar is linked to PAN. In spite of various audits, frauds, cyber frauds are increasing. What is the remedy? Thank you, sir.
ಓಕೆ ರಾಮರಾವ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಈಗಿನ ಜ್ವಲಂತ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ರಾಮರಾವಿಗೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ನವೀನ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ನಾಲೆಜ್ ಸಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್. ಆರ್ ಯು ಅವೇರ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ರೋಬೋಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್? Robot tax.
I don't think it may be covered in the Income Tax Act. I think it may be a different act which may come in, considering that government always is in need of money. It is very much possible that new legislation may come in introducing this tax.
Okay, because
Just wait for the budget, sir, on 23rd.
correct. Now this threshold limit is based on the, Mr. Naveen, threshold limit is based on the turnover or gross receipt. Can you define what is turnover and what is gross receipt?
Yeah. So the meaning of turnover and gross receipt is in our guidance note also. Basically, there is no section in the act which will give you the meaning of gross receipt and turnover. Basically. So now, what is turnover? For example, I am carrying on a business, and we'll take one or two examples to understand the meaning. Suppose GST. You are collecting GST tax. So what my guidance note is telling, you collect GST tax, open one separate account. So whatever you collect, you credit to that account, and whatever you pay, you debit to that account. Therefore, the law is telling, don't include that for purpose of computation of 1 crore. For purpose of computation of 1 crore, which is the turnover for threshold limit for tax audit, don't include this. What you have collected, net only you include. Similarly, out of pocket expenses collected from the client. Suppose you are billing them separately or included in the same bill as fees. So accordingly, you make adjustments to your fees. Basically, these are certain examples.
Anything to add?
No, one thing which I wanted to add earlier was that this 10 crore limit which we had, it is one more point which we need to note. In let's say your turnover is between that 1 to 10 crore or 2 or 3 to 10 crore as applicable, your due date for filing the return is 31st of July and not 31st of October or 30th of September. So certain compliances you may need to do in this month itself. For example, TDS deduction you will need to do by 31st of July itself, otherwise you may face disallowance. If you are under the impression that my turnover is more than 3 crores, maybe 5 crores, but my cash transaction less than 5%, I believe it's a compulsory provision, it's not a voluntary provision. As a result, the TDS deductions and TDS payments, if there are any defaults, you have to do it by due date of filing of the return. So 31st of July is the applicable provision, and as a result, even if you have not filed your return, please keep in mind to at least pay the TDS in those cases so that you don't face disallowances. For example, if your subcontract payment is 1 to 2 crores for 5 crores, and if the TDS may be just 1 or 2%, maybe 1 lakh or 2 lakhs, but if you do not pay this TDS, 30% means 30 lakhs will be added back to your income.
So the provisions of TDS is very tedious, you want to say, correct, no?
Yes.
Okay, now one more caller is there, we will attend. Hello.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Who speaking?
ನಾನು ಸೂರ್ಯಕಾಂತ್ ಪ್ರಭು ಅಂತ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು.
ಸೂರ್ಯಕಾಂತ್ ಪ್ರಭು, ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್. ಆಯ್ತು, ಹೆಚ್ಚ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲ?
ಹೌದು.
ಹೇಳಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ
ಈಗ
ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ.
ನಾವು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ನಾವು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದ್ ವೇಳೆ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಲೋನ್ ಸಿಗಬಹುದಾ? ಅವ್ರೇನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ವಾ?
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ P&L ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನವರು ಲೋನ್ ಕೊಡುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಲೋನ್ ತೆಗೆಯುವುದು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂತ. ಹೌ ಟು ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಯಾವುದುಂಟಾ?
ಬೇರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಅದೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡೌಟ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಹೌದು.
ಓಕೆ ನವೀನ್, under presumptive that you need not have to maintain books of account, but bankers, when there is a limit about 20 lakhs, that is audit report for non-corporate borrowers, one report, this is it's a format is there, then what is your opinion about it?
Yeah, so the act, as per the act itself, because I have fulfilled the conditions, I am not maintaining books.
Correct.
So I don't have my balance sheet. So now I have to give a certificate. Banker will ask me, you give me a certificate from your chartered accountant. So chartered will not be able to certify because there is no balance sheet. But what he can do is at least he can take the turnover as per the GST. Can certify that this is the turnover as per GST, or this is the turnover, as appearing 26 years also. I can get the turnover from 26 years. I can get the turnover from AAS as well as my GST portal. So that I can certify and give him. Plus, the net profit anyway, what I have declared. Also, the banker can look into, nowadays banks are asking, they are asking, give me your ITR. And they are checking the ITR and seeing whether those 4 columns are filled. Because all presumptive income, wherever you declared, you need to fill up those 4 columns. Sundry creditors, cash balance, stock, etc. So all these, the bankers are seeing that. And then they are telling, how did you find out all this? Please give the details. So they know about all these balances also. So based on this, they would sanction or the loan based on certain limits.
What is your opinion? That accountant compilation report, there is one format, no? As per our institute provision itself. Can you just brief on that?
See, there are two things. All these limits, 6% or 8%, what is prescribed, these are minimum profits which are mentioned. There is nothing in the act which says that you cannot declare more. And in fact, what happens in many cases, there may be people who have a 1 crore or 2 crore turnover, and their profit may be somewhere around 30 or 40 lakhs, and is maintaining a cash bank balance of 30-40 lakhs. Then I cannot claim that my turnover is only 6%. Because in that case, how is it that you are getting this bank balance? So as a result, what
that is 6% or 8% is the minimum.
Correct.
Or higher amount.
So
in case of professionals, 50% is the minimum.
Correct.
Or you can declare higher amount. If it is you are getting more, and how to ascertain that profit is more?
So what is suggested is you draw a simple statement of affairs. Even if you don't have a proper balance sheet, P&L and books of accounts, you can draw a simple statement of affairs and see what are your investments. For example, you have put money in mutual funds, you have put money in stocks, you have kept money at FDs, or you have bought properties. Put this on the asset side. Need not have to be a perfect books of accounts, but get this one figure. If you have any loans, put it on the liability side. The balance should be your capital. If you are already having money which you have infused, fine. Or the rest, if it is from your current year's accruals, current year's profits, then that balancing figure should be your profit, not just 6 or 8%. Otherwise, what happens is
Assets in excess of liabilities and capital.
Correct.
That difference is automatically profit.
So as a result, you have to be very careful by not just restricting yourself to 6 or 8%. And today in Form AIS, everything is available. You don't even need to search and get all the data. Whatever FDs you have kept or renewed, that is also appearing. Whatever purchase of stocks is appearing. Purchase of mutual funds is appearing. Any purchase of real estate is also appearing if it is in certain cases. And any other gaps, it is your transactions. I think you would be most in a good position to declare this. So this is one thing. Additionally, let's say you have banking limits and wherein this is compulsory, what you can also do is you can still maintain your books of accounts and get an audit done under the provisions which the bankers are referring to, which may not be the income tax provision, but when it comes to your provisions under income tax, you can still go for presumptive taxation. Income tax does not prohibit you from maintaining books of accounts. It just says that it is not compulsory. And at the same time, what happens is, if you go under presumptive scheme, you have a lot of benefits wherein they cannot question your deductions. Many of these provisions are deemed. So as a result, where you are having a higher banking limit, it may be still advisable to maintain books. Additionally, let's say it may not be possible for a CA to give a certificate or an audit report in certain cases, but there are certain other provisions like compilation reports and these provisions. If the bankers are satisfied with these reports, that should also be sufficient for the purposes of your banking limits.
Okay. CA Naveen Khariwal. If there are multiple businesses run by an SSE, suppose one individual has 3 to 4 kinds of business or one SSE is having 3 to 4 kinds of business. In case of multiple businesses, how this presumptive taxation can be adopted?
Yes, sir. So, where there are multiple business being run by an associate,
Correct.
what you need to do is the sales, turnover or gross receipts, all the businesses shall be clubbed together.
All together, yeah.
All together, you club together, first point.
Not individualized limit.
No, you club together everything.
Okay.
Next, suppose now you want to opt for the presumptive taxation scheme. Then for whatever business you are opting for presumptive taxation scheme, that turnover of such business shall be excluded while determining the total sales. While determining the total sales, what you have to do, you exclude the turnover of such business. Now take the typical example, for a doctor, for example, he has got 40 lakhs professional income. Medical stores he has got 70 lakhs income. Now, the doctor can follow 44AD, 44ADA. 4486 clearly says that a professional cannot, you cannot follow the 44AD. 4486 bars the professionals. But now see the ITR. The problem is the ITR says, I can declare under 44AD, I can declare under 44ADA, I can declare under 44AE, and also other than taxable under 44AD, ADA, AE. That means your normal business and profession. Therefore, here, doctor can declare, less than 40 lakhs, less than 50 lakhs, it is 44ADA. So 40 lakhs gross receipts, 50% to declare, opt for 44ADA. Again, medical stores is there, turnover less than 1 crore or 2 crores. So opt for 44AD there. Absolutely no problem in the ITR. Okay. ITR will allow. All that are specifically barred by 44AD clause 6. Again, if you see other businesses also, whose turnover less than 1 crore, I can draw a P&L account happily. And I can show less than 8% also. So all these multiple businesses, but remember the GST. Suppose, there are 10 branches all over India. 10 branches all over India with 10 different GSTN numbers. Then in class 4 of 3CD, multiple GSTN numbers registered in different states, all the GSTN numbers as allotted to him should be mentioned in 3CD also. Form 3CD. So that you have to be careful.
Okay, that is very relevant. All GST numbers should be mentioned in the return. Correct, no? Okay. Now, due dates. What are all the due dates under presumptive tax as well as what are the due dates under tax audit?
So the most earliest due date which you are getting now, and one of the most important due dates is 31st of July, which is this month end. Now, any person who is not subject to audit under Income Tax Act or audit under any other act in India. So for such people, 31st of July is the due date. Now, who will be these people? Could be salaried individuals or could be businesses also. And keep in mind, businesses could be somewhere even 9 crore business also today can still have 31st July if his cash transactions are less than 5%. Additionally, let's say you are subject to audit under any other act. For example, a private limited company is subject to audit under Companies Act. For them, it is 31st of October, which is the due date for filing the tax return. If they are subject to tax audit, then 30th of September is due date for filing the tax audit report. However, let's say their turnover is below 1 crore. In that case, they don't have a tax audit report applicable, but still they have the 31st of October as their deadline for filing the company tax return. Similarly, for LLPs, if you have 40 lakhs for turnover and 25 lakhs for capital contribution, but if you don't cross the income tax limits, still you can take the 31st October deadline if you are subject to audit under LLP Act. Similarly, you may have cooperative societies, you may have, they may have audit under Societies Act, or there may be similar provisions wherein you may be subject to audit under any act or regulation in our country. In that case, you can still take shelter under the 31st October deadline, even if you are not subject to the 30th September deadline. Now, what is the some compliances which may be applicable? One is the tax filing for 31st of July. Additionally, TDS payments. It is very important that you, if in case you have TDS is applicable or any provision, keep in mind that you have to pay these if you are under non-presumptive schemes especially. TDS is applicable even for presumptive or non-presumptive. But especially for those who are under non-presumptive schemes, you please keep in mind to pay the TDS within 31st of July, otherwise you will be subject to disallowance, which may be very heavy for that matter. Additionally, section 43B compliance also, in case you are under non-presumptive schemes, please keep in mind to pay those taxes within the 31st of July, otherwise you may be subject to disallowance under section 43B as well. So these are, I feel, some important deadlines which you need to keep for 31st of July. So even if you are not able to file the tax return, make sure that you satisfy 43B for payment of other taxes, could be your GST or any other government dues which are mentioned, or otherwise the TDS under section 40A, which will impact your taxes.
Okay. Mr. Naveen, now under tax audit, if you don't do TDS, expenses disallowed, added back to the income, okay. But whether that is the case in case of presumptive taxation also, once you declare 6%, 8% or 50% in case of professional, and violation of these things, TDS has not done, whether that way again is to be added back, or what is, with this presumptive, that is presumed, or what?
Sir, now it's a very good question. So there are two views here. The section is telling, if you see 44AD, it says notwithstanding anything contained in section, notwithstanding anything to the contrary, contained in section 28 to 43C.
Yes.
40A3, 40IA, 43B clause H, everything is out. So I am telling, I will not go into this 40A3. For example, retailer, he has paid more than 10,000 cash payment, I will not make disallowance on 40A3. Because 28 to 43C, 44AD is overriding. 40A3 will not come, example. 40IA, so the TDS deducted and not remitted. But my dear friends, it's okay, so those provisions will not apply. 43B clause H also will not apply because section is telling 28 to 43C. But if your turnover in the preceding year is more than 1 crore, remember the provisions of TDS would apply as per 194. So when those provisions apply because of 194, because in the preceding year turnover is more than 1 crore, therefore, my dear friends, in my opinion, penalty would be applicable under 271C for non-deduction of tax. Because the turnover is more than 1 crore and there is no change, or I am telling you no amendment in provisions of 194. There the word is still 1 crore only. You know, for presumptive, it is up to 2 crores, up to 2 crores. And certain cases up to 3 crores. But in 194, unfortunately, the turnover is still 1 crore only. So there are two views which are possible as of now.
Very nice. I think now it is time for the break. Veekshakare, break ke baad.
Bhima Brilliance Diamond Jewelry Festival till 31st July. Get assured cashback of rupees 7,000 per carat and enjoy flat rupees 500 off per gram on gold in diamond jewelry. Available at all Bhima Jewelers showrooms. TNC apply.
Sunpure Sunflower Oil. Healthy, chemical free ಮತ್ತು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿದೆ ವಿಟಮಿನ್ಸ್ A, D ಮತ್ತು E. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಜೋಡಿ 30 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಶುದ್ಧತೆಯ ಅನುಬಂಧ.
Our mission is to deliver quality health care to every needy person in this region.
ಮಂಗಳೂರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೀಗ ಹೆಸರಾಂತ ಎಜೆ ಸಮೂಹ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳಿಂದ ಮಂಗಳೂರ ಜನತೆಗೆ ನೂತನ ಕೊಡುಗೆ. ಕರಾವಳಿ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಉದ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲೇ ಹೊಸ ಮೈಲಿಗಲ್ಲು. ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಹೊರವಲಯದ ಎಕ್ಕೂರಿನ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ ವಾತಾವರಣದಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಎಕರೆ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ತಲೆ ಎತ್ತಿ ನಿಂತಿದೆ ಪಂಚತಾರಾ ಮಾದರಿಯ ಐಷಾರಾಮಿ ಎಜೆ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಲೈಟ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್. ಸುಸಜ್ಜಿತ ಆಧುನಿಕ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯ ನೂತನ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಸ್ಯಾಹಾರಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾಂಸಾಹಾರಿ ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕ ವಿಭಾಗಗಳು, ಮಧುವನ್ ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ವೆಜ್ ರೆಸ್ಟೋರೆಂಟ್, ಲಿಗ್ರಾಂಡೆ ಮಲ್ಟಿ ಕ್ಯೂಸಿನ್ ರೆಸ್ಟೋರೆಂಟ್, ಗ್ರಾಹಕರ ಅಭಿರುಚಿಗೆ ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಫುಡ್ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ, ಸುಂದರವಾದ ಈಜುಕೊಳಗಳು, 3 ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ವೆಟ್ ಹಾಲ್ಗಳು, ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ರೂಮ್, 1000 ಮಂದಿ ಆಸೀನರಾಗಲು ಅವಕಾಶವಿರುವ ಓಪನ್ ಥಿಯೇಟರ್, ವಿಶಾಲವಾದ ಪಾರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ, ಜಿಮ್ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ ಇತ್ಯಾದಿಗಳು ಲಭ್ಯ. ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಆತಿಥ್ಯ ನೀಡುವ ಸಕಲ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯದೊಂದಿಗೆ ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಏಕೈಕ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಎಜೆ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಲೈಟ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್. ಇಂದೇ ಸಂಪರ್ಕಿಸಿ ಎಜೆ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಲೈಟ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್, ಎಕ್ಕೂರು ಬಜಾರ್, 2ನೇ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ರೋಡ್, ಮಂಗಳೂರು. ಫ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಫ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಮಳಿಗೆ, ಕರಾವಳಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಜನತೆಯ ಪ್ರಶಂಸೆ ಗಳಿಸಿದ ಮದುವೆ ಸೀರೆಗಳ ಹೆಸರಾಂತ ಮಳಿಗೆ ಅಂಚನ್ ಗಾರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ರವರ ನೂತನ ಮಳಿಗೆ ಅಂಚನ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್. ಬಹುಮಹಡಿಯ ವಿಶಾಲ ಕೊಠಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಆಯ್ಕೆಗೆ ಇದೀಗ ತೆರೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಬಂಟ್ವಾಳ ಬೈಪಾಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣಗೊಂಡ ಅಂಚನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಆಯ್ಕೆಗೆ ಸುವರ್ಣಾವಕಾಶ. ಕಾಂಜೀವರಂ, ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್, ಆರ್ಟ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್, ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ಫ್ಯಾನ್ಸಿ ಸಾರಿ, ಕಾಟನ್ ಸಾರಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಲೌಸ್ಗಳು. ಮದುವೆ ಸಂಭ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಮಹಿಳೆಯರಿಗೆ, ಪುರುಷರಿಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗುವ ಸೂಟಿಂಗ್, ಶರ್ಟಿಂಗ್, ಶರ್ವಾಣಿ, ಬಾಬಾ ಸೂಟ್ಸ್ ಹಾಗೂ ನವನವೀನ ವಿನ್ಯಾಸದ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ರೆಡಿಮೇಡ್ಸ್, ಫ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಾಂಪ್ರದಾಯಿಕ ಉಡುಪುಗಳ ಲೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗಳೊಂದಿಗೆ ವಿವಿಧ ವಿನ್ಯಾಸದ ಫುಟ್ವೇರ್ಗಳು, ಫ್ಯಾನ್ಸಿ, ಟಾಯ್ಸ್, ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಐಟಂಗಳು ಒಂದೇ ಸೂರಿನಡಿ. ಇಂದೇ ಭೇಟಿ ಕೊಡಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಗ್ರಾಹಕರಿಗಾಗಿ ಅತಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ದರದಲ್ಲಿ ಲಭ್ಯ. ಅಂಚನ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್, ಬೈಪಾಸ್, ಬಂಟ್ವಾಳ, ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕನ್ನಡ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆ. ದೂರವಾಣಿ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ 890441 44 ಅಥವಾ 944 898 4097.
ಮಣಿಪಾಲ್ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಕುಟುಂಬಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ ಮೌಲ್ಯ, ವಿಶ್ವಾಸಾರ್ಹ ಸೇವೆ. ಹಲವಾರು ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಉತ್ತಮ ಆರೋಗ್ಯದ ಭರವಸೆ ನಿಮಗೂ ಹಾಗೂ ನಿಮ್ಮವರಿಗೂ. ಮಂಗಳೂರಿನ ಕೆಎಂಸಿ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಕಟೀಲಿನ ದುರ್ಗ ಸಂಜೀವನಿ ಮಣಿಪಾಲ್ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಶೇಷ ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ ಪಡೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಹೊರರೋಗಿ ವಿಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ತಜ್ಞ ವೈದ್ಯರ ಜೊತೆ ಸಮಾಲೋಚನೆಗೆ 25ರಿಂದ 50% ವರೆಗೆ ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ. ಪ್ರಯೋಗಾಲಯ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಗಳಿಗೆ 20% ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ. ರೇಡಿಯೋಲಜಿ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಗಳಿಗೆ 20% ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ. ಹೊರರೋಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯವಿಧಾನಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ 10% ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಔಷಧಿಗಳಿಗೆ 10% ವರೆಗೆ ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ ಪಡೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಒಳರೋಗಿಗಳಾಗಿ ದಾಖಲಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರಲ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ವಾರ್ಡ್ ವಿಭಾಗಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ವಿಶೇಷ ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಪಡೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಸೇವಾ ಅಗತ್ಯತೆಗಳಿಗಾಗಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ನೋಂದಾಯಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಅರ್ಜಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ಗಾಗಿ ಸಂಪರ್ಕಿಸಿರಿ.
ಎಸ್ಸಿಡಿಸಿಸಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಎಂಎನ್ ರಾಜೇಂದ್ರ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸಾರಥ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಶಸ್ವಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತಿರುವ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್. ಸತತ 19 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಅಪೆಕ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ, 18 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ನಬಾರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ ಪುರಸ್ಕೃತ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಏಕೈಕ ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್. ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕನ್ನಡ, ಉಡುಪಿ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗಳ ಜನರ ಸಮಗ್ರ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷ ಸಾಲ ಯೋಜನೆ, ಗೃಹ ಸಾಲ, ಕೃಷಿ, ಹೈನುಗಾರಿಕೆ, ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಸಾಲ, ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ, ವಾಹನ ಸಾಲ, ಚಿನ್ನಾಭರಣಗಳಿಗೆ ಈಡಿನ ಸಾಲ ಹಾಗೂ ಇನ್ನಿತರ ಸಾಲ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯಗಳಿಗೆ ಸುಲಭ ಹಾಗೂ ತ್ವರಿತಗತಿಯ ಸಾಲ ನೀಡಲಾಗುವುದು. ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ತಿರದ ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾಖೆಗಳನ್ನು ಸಂಪರ್ಕಿಸಿ. ಎಸ್ಸಿಡಿಸಿಸಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಕಚೇರಿ, ಉತ್ಕೃಷ್ಟ ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಸೌಧ, ಕೊಡಿಯಾಲ್ಬಾಯಿ, ಮಂಗಳೂರು. ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಭರವಸೆಯ ವ್ಯವಹಾರದೊಂದಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಾಗೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್.
ಪ್ರತಿ ತಿಂಗಳು ಸ್ತ್ರೀಯರ ತಿಂಗಳ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅವರು ಎದುರಿಸುವಂತಹ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ನೋವು, ಸೊಂಟ ನೋವು, ಬೆನ್ನು ನೋವು ಹಾಗೂ ಇತರೆ ನಿಶ್ಶಕ್ತಿಯ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಉತ್ತಮ ಆಹಾರ ಪದ್ಧತಿಯ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆ. ಇಂದಿನ ಜೀವನ ಶೈಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವ್ಯಾರು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಆಹಾರ ಸೇವನೆಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಗಮನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಜೀನಿ ವುಮೆನ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್.
ಜೀನಿ ಕುಡಿಯಿರಿ, ಆರೋಗ್ಯವಾಗಿರಿ.
Dear viewers and entrepreneurs, you are welcome to our show again after the break. Today's topic, tax audit and presumptive taxation. We have two distinguished resource persons with us, CA Naveen Khariwal, practicing chartered accountant Bangalore and expert in direct taxes. You are welcome to the show after the break. CA Sanket S. Nayak, partner, SS Nayak and Associates. You are also welcome to the show after the break. ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೇ, ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಸಂದೇಹ ಇದ್ದರೆ 0824-411-6060 ಅಥವಾ 0824-411-9090ಗೆ ಕರೆ ಮಾಡಿ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಂದೇಹ ಬರಿದ್ದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. ಯಾವುದೇ ಫೀಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಶುಲ್ಕವನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಧಿಸಲಾಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಫ್ರೀ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಎನಿ ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್. ನೌ Sanket, you told that agency business, commission business, they are excluded from presumptive taxation. How these people doing agency business and commission agents, how they can file returns? What are the procedures?
Yes. So people who are having incomes from any commission or as an agent, they are excluded from 44AD. But at the same time, they are still required to file their tax returns. How they can go about this? They can go under the regular provisions, wherein they would need to, if 44A will be applicable in case they cross the threshold limits, and if their incomes are less than 1 crore, then in that case they need not have to do a tax
commission
audit.
In excess of 1 crore.
Correct. Commission in excess of 1 crore, they may not be subject to tax audit. And now with the latest provision of 10 crores, let's say your cash payments, in that case, if cash payments and cash receipts both are less than 5%, you can take shelter under those provisions as well. But books of accounts will be required to be kept. Even for smaller turnovers, you will need to keep books of accounts as long as you cross those 44AA turnovers. Now for individuals, I believe 25 lakhs, that relaxation is there. So above that, you would need to maintain books of accounts, and your profits, in most cases, I believe more than the turnover, the profits may be applicable here, because the profit margin may be on the higher side in these lines of business. In such a case, what would happen is, if your profits are crossing those threshold limits of 2.5 lakhs, then you would need to maintain books of accounts in such cases.
Okay. CA Naveen, under section 44AB, when you are doing the audit, certain expenses are disallowed, and statutory payments, if you don't pay before the due date of the filing return, they are also disallowed. Can you brief on what are all the expenses disallowed under section 44AB audit?
Yes, sir. So in this case, the relevant section would be 43B of the Act. So 43B of the Act is telling that certain statutory expenses, GST payable, earlier it was service tax, VAT, etc., not paid within the due date, including your ESI and PF. That is actually should be paid before the due date prescribed under the respective acts rather than Income Tax Act now, because of checkmate services also, Supreme Court.
Okay.
It should be paid within the respective acts. The most important section now, and I'm sure members, I am humble submission to members is, please do not upload or sign audit report till the day of the budget, because the most important clause to be taken care is 43B clause H. And I hope you have not made any disallowance as of today and uploaded any audit report, because I am for one expecting a major change in this 43B clause H. Even it may even be deferred, or it may even be removed in the Act.
Payment to MSMEs.
Yes, sir. Payment to MSMEs. 43BH, because this is the latest section, 43BH. Before that, there are 8 allowances which can be allowed only if they are paid within the due date of filing return of income.
Correct.
Like, for example, interest on bank loan, financial institution, etc. Along with this GST, excess levy, etc. What is 43B clause H now? Please be careful. Why was this section introduced, and what confusion it has created now? So, madam, it is like a Damocles sword, is a two-edged weapon. So, madam did not realize this, because, the MSMEs, they went to the finance minister. See, nobody is giving us payment. So, you make it mandatory, else you disallow in their hands if they don't make the payment. This was the briefing given to the finance minister. So, with a good intention only, the law was brought actually. But now what has happened? It has created a furor all over India. Why? Point number one, the buyer and the seller. So who should be MSME? The buyer has to naturally be MSME. Although the word used is MSME, it applies only to two types. It does not apply to your medium. It applies only to small and micro. Does not apply to medium. Next, what are they telling? The provision is not drafted, according to the times. Because in my opinion, you are giving only time of 45 days and 15 days to make payment for purchases. I make a purchases from a micro or small. Fine. There is 1 crore and 10 crores and 10 crores and 50 crores as per MSME Act 2006 definition. So if I don't make the payment for purchases within 45 days or 15 days as per MSME Act section 15, this section is already there in the statute, sir, MSME Act 2006. But we are doing in Form 3CD always nil, not applicable, nit, not applicable. 44 clauses we are filling like this every time, nil, not applicable. So if you see here, section was always there. If I don't make a payment within 15 days or 45 days, subject to written agreement. If there is a written agreement, 45 days, no written agreement, 15 days. From the date of acceptance. Then what is going to happen? Law is telling I am going to make a disallowance. Law further states, even though the payment for these purchases made from these two guys are made before the due date of filing return of income, I give a damn. I am going to make an addition. It will be allowed only in the next year. So what will happen? Working capital requirement. This year you make addition, I have to pay tax. Now example, as on date itself, these bills of February, March, 45 days, 15 days, which will spill into April. If I have not made in time, even 1 day delay, I have to make addition today in my audit report. Because as of date, there is no amendment in the law. This law is passed by the parliament. Be careful. So, your audit report will be at fault and you will be penalized if you don't inform on this 43B clause H. Therefore, refrain, in my humble opinion, till the day of the budget. So, when these additions are made, law is telling I am not going to allow you. When? I will allow you only in the next year. And therefore, I have to pay tax this year and claim refund in next year. That refund will be blocked again, working capital for next 2 years. Because this will be processed and taken up for refund after 2 years by the, CPC processing. Sir.
So, now people have realized just to get shielded from this big medium and large scale industries and big business people squeezing these small businesses, this provision has been introduced. But this is affecting the small business people only. So that is the reason you are under the opinion that this may be changed in this budget. Until budget, better to wait. Let us wait. 23rd July. 23rd July is the budget date. It is. We will come to know on that date. Correct, no? Okay. Now, what are all the other disallowances in tax audit? What are all the expenses? For example, payment exceeding rupees 10,000 in cash, payment for capital goods in excess of 10,000, depreciation on that. Can you just brief about that?
Yes. So this is one is for tax audit SSCs. Also, it is also equally applicable to SSCs who are not under presumptive scheme. For them as well, it is applicable. For 31st July cases also, turnover below 1 crore, you are not opting for 44 AD or presumptive schemes. For them as well, equally applicable as much as tax audit. Also for people who are having turnover from 1 to 10 crores and who are not who are having less than 5% and taking shelter under that provision, for them as well these disallowances are applicable as much as tax audit. It is just that in tax audit there is additional reporting to be done by the chartered accountant. In normal scenario there is no reporting, but if the department picks up the case for scrutiny, the provisions are equally applicable.
Okay.
Some of the provisions which are majorly applicable, one is ESI and PF payments. Now in case there is a delay of even 1 day, let us not even talk about 1 month or due date of filing of the return. Even in your monthly return payment, if you have done a 1 day delay, that much of the employee's contribution is disallowed from the in your tax return. So you will have to pay additional income tax on that much amount of your ESI or PF of the employee's contribution. Now for the employer's contribution, you still have section 43B, wherein you have time till the due date of filing of the return. Now additionally, there is section 40A3 wherein what happens is any cash transactions in excess of 10,000 will not be allowed for the purpose of claiming an expenditure. Additionally, even for, let's say, capital assets, earlier this was not covered, but this has also been brought into the ambit a few years back, wherein you purchase any items, let's say a laptop or a mobile phone, or let's say machinery, or even construction of a building. In many of these cases, lot of cash transactions take place in case of construction of building. Now here as well, it does not permit cash transactions, in the sense you can, but depreciation will not be allowed on the portion where you have paid in cash. So as a result, it is better to avoid that. Additionally, under 43B, there are multiple provisions actually. MSME is one of the provisions, like Naveen sir mentioned. There is also any other taxes like GST. Additionally, there is interest on bank loans. Many people are not familiar with this provision. So if you have kept any sums due, or if your loan has gone NPA, these interests are not allowable if you have not paid them within due date of filing of the return.
Okay. So disallowances we should note properly, otherwise there will be trouble. But there are some exemptions for cash payments in excess of rupees 10,000 also. Now 269 ST, CA Naveen, that 269 ST, if you receive more than 2 lakhs per transaction or per event, so then the person who receives in cash in excess of 2 lakhs, so equivalent amount of penalty is to be paid. Can you just brief about this 269 ST?
Yes, sir. So this is the most important amendment made by the India government since they took up office in 2014. What is 269 ST and why it has been brought into statute? Slight background I am giving you, because when the Prime Minister came to office for the first time in 2014, he appointed what is called a special investigation wing, to take suggestions to eradicate the menace of black money and corruption. So one of the suggestions they gave was, don't allow in India any cash transaction beyond a sum of 3 lakhs. So immediately Jaitley ji implemented that in the form of section 269 ST with effect from 1st of April 17 itself it came. So this provision is applicable in the statute. What they said, no person, it applies to every damn person on this earth, individual, HUF, firm, LLP, AOP, BOI, company, cooperative society, etc., etc. No person shall receive an amount of 2 lakh rupees or more. Don't always think that is beyond 2 lakh rupees. It is 2 lakh rupees or more. So 2 lakh rupees or more in aggregate from a person in a day, or in respect of a single transaction, or in respect of transaction related to one event or occasion from a person otherwise than by your account pay check or account pay bank draft, or all the modes prescribed under Rule 6A, BBA, that is your credit card, debit card, NEFT, RTGS, BHIM, UPI, etc. That is given in Rule 6A, BBA. Now, what are they telling? These provisions will not apply only to government as usual, banking company, post office saving bank or cooperative bank. Not to cooperative society. What is mentioned does not apply to government, banking company, post office savings bank, cooperative bank, or transactions of the nature referred to in 269 SS. It applies to all of them. Now take one example. How dangerous is the provision? Without your knowledge, you will be coming under this provision and you will not know. For example, father is gifting to his son. Oh my dear son, out of love and affection, I am giving you 3 lakh rupees. So father has got the source. I am not on the source. Father has declared income tax returns, income. He has got the source. He gave 3 lakhs to his son, relative. So exempt, blood relation. But in the hands of the son, if he has received 3 lakhs in cash, 271 DA penalty will be leviable. Why? For violation of 269 ST. No person shall receive amount of 2 lakhs or more. So that is one example.
But the father can give in 5 occasions, different occasions. 2 lakhs each, less than 198.
You can give on, he is telling on 5 different days, 1 lakh each, or on different occasions.
Correct.
So now the second scenario is, partner is introducing capital in the firm. So you cash account debit to capital account credit. Partner is capital. So capital introduce 10 lakh rupees cash. I am not on the question. Partner says, I have declared income 1 crore. I have got sufficient source. I am a partner. He has introduced 10 lakhs in the firm. Who is the recipient of that cash? Firm. Inadvertently or unintentionally, the firm will come under the ambit of 269 ST. Be careful. So as sir has already given the tax planning, don't reduce in one shot 10 lakhs. But you have to be very careful. And again, suppose the partner were to withdraw the capital. Take a case of vice versa. Partner withdraws capital. You are telling, I am withdrawing my own capital. Who are you to levy penalty? I withdraw out of money, out of my capital, out of my share of profit, out of my salary, out of my interest, etc. No. Again, you withdraw more than 2 lakhs in one shot at a time. Again, 269 ST, who in the hands of recipient. So these are inadvertent situations. Again, agricultural income, I am telling you. Don't think that agricultural income, loan or deposit 269 SS is only for that only loan or deposit. It is not for sale produce, my dear friend. Be careful. Sale or produce of even agricultural products up to 2 lakhs only allowable. Beyond 2 lakhs, section would apply. Section would apply, sir. Be careful. Again, NBFCs. No problem. Up to 2 lakhs, okay, cash. Absolutely no problem. Beyond 2 lakhs, again, the provisions would apply because there are board circulars for this. That is the reason I added this. Take again a case of hire purchase. So all this would apply, sir. Be careful. So sale proceeds of goods, proceeds of services, sale proceeds of movable properties, then remuneration, etc. Advance received. Now again 269 SS and T amendment has come from 1st of June 15 itself. Loan, deposit or specified sum or specified advance. That 20,000 will take care there. Don't worry about this 269 ST. But there is a typical case where 269 ST and 269 SS also would apply. I will just tell you that and then I will give over the baton to my senior. Now, I will just tell you this example. Ram makes a repayment of loan along with interest of rupees 2.4 lakhs in cash to Sham. Okay. So Ram has made a repayment of loan along with interest. And total amount is 2.4 lakhs in cash to Sham. So 269 ST is applicable in the hands of Sham. And 269 T is applicable to Ram. Why? Repayment of loan. 269 SS. Because the section is telling transaction of the nature referred in 269 SS, it will not apply. Why? 269 ST. But nowhere it says that T will not apply. Therefore, when you repay a loan of 2.4 lakhs in cash, Ram to Sham. So in the hands of Sham and in the hands of Ram, 269 ST as well as 269 T would be applicable. Remember the danger and also you have to qualify your audit report.
That means both Ram and Sham, they will be jam. Correct, no? Due to this. Okay. Now everywhere it is in news now. Anant Ambani's wedding. During Anant Ambani's wedding, Purohitas, definitely they are paid more than 2 lakhs that Purohitas Dakshina. So whether Ambani family, they have to pay it in check or in digital mode or cash. For payment there is no problem. For receipt of amount in excess of rupees 2 lakhs by Purohitas, whether it is 269 ST applicable.
See, one important provision which we need to remember, 269 ST nowhere talks about business SSEs. Many people may be under the impression that only if I am carrying business, 269 ST will be applicable. Now, property transaction, in many cases you used to see sale deed, balance consideration of 10 lakhs received by way of cash. Here also this provision can apply. Wherein he may not have received that in cash or he may not have received it at all. So it is we have to be very careful when mentioning these things in your property documents. Many occasions what would happen is because of lack of information, the document writer or advocate for the completion of transaction, whatever info he may be mentioning, wherever check is available or DD is available, he may write that. Balance in earlier it used to be very prominent. The entire transaction, otherwise in some cases where no information, everything paid in cash. So here also it is very important to remember that it will be equally applicable. So be very careful when you are selling properties. This provision will be equally applicable. Now additionally, like you mentioned, in religious ceremonies, whether this will be applicable or let's say in weddings or any other functions, whether it will be applicable, it will be equally applicable.
Nature of personal transactions also it is applicable.
So let's say for, like you asked, Purohit or any other person performing this ceremony, for them also it will be applicable because it says no person. It is nowhere talking about SSE, business, profession, it could be income from other sources also, it can be equally applicable. Let's say commission, property transaction, you are paying 5 lakhs commission to the agent or broker. He may say, this is not my regular business.
If Purohita gets more than 20 lakhs in a year, then he has to pay GST.
We will need to go through some details. It may be possible that certain exemptions may be available, but it may also be possible that GST may be applicable. We will need to go through this transaction in more detail in this regard. Now, additionally, property transactions, you may pay your agent 3 lakhs by way of cash. Let's say any real estate agent, he may say that this is not my regular business. I am having a regular business of construction or regular business of anything. Just as a favor to my friend, I did a property transaction and he gave me commission of 3 lakhs. Still it will be applicable in that case as well. So that is also to be equally kept in mind. Additionally, let's say catering or any other thing, any other personal transaction, construction industry, in many of the times contractors may be paid in cash. In this case also equally this can apply. If you are getting 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs or whatever amount that is, you will still be subject to this provision. Let's say salary, you are paid in cash, may be highly improbable, but even in that case also it can equally apply. If you are receiving, let's say, a consideration in excess of 2 lakhs in cash, still this provision can still apply. So as a result, you have to be very careful. This provision is applicable for everyone. It is not just business SSEs. And additionally, 269 SS and T as well we are discussing, these provisions are also equally applicable to anyone, not just people who are in business.
So, in simple words, all people, persons, not I am talking about only business people, all persons, you should be aware of these provisions and you should be beware. If you are not aware and beware, you will be nowhere. Correct, no? Okay.
I think if you have had the sorry to interrupt, if you had a program one day before, you would have, won the Purohita for Anant Ambani's wedding. Day before. Because you raised a very pertinent point, but it's one day too late after the wedding.
Now, what are the provisions with respect to 44AB in case of businesses carried on by charitable or religious trusts? Can you just throw light on it?
Yes, sir. Now, what our guidance note is telling is provisions of audit 11.4 and 11.4a, business can be a property of the trust. Business, when it's a property of the trust, whether the provisions of 44AB are applicable or whether 11 to 13 would apply. So, what the guidance note is telling, so where we are. Where the charitable trust is carrying on any business activity, there they are telling you apply the provisions of 11 to 13 and you should not apply the provisions of 44AB. So guidance note is emphatic in its opinion. So the guidance note is telling requirement under 44AB would be only under the head profits and gains of business or profession, and therefore audit under 44AB would be required only if the income is taxed under the head profits and gains, which is specific requirement 44AB. Whereas a charitable trust is governed by provisions of 11 to 13.
Okay.
Be careful, my dear friends, there are 3 due dates as of now. 31st of August, 30th September, 31st October for charitable trust. Since our sir has raised this point, let me inform members. 31st August is what? Last date for filing Form 10 or Form 9A. Form 9A, Form 10 for charitable trust. 30th September is the last date for filing audit report in Form 10 and Form 10BB. And then 31st October is the last date for filing the return for charitable trust. So be careful for this Form 10 and Form 9A. What I am telling is, for example, you have received 1 crore accrued interest, FD interest. You have not received the accrued interest at all. No question of spending 85% of the amount for charitable purpose. Therefore, you have to file necessarily Form 9A to be spent in the year of receipt or in the immediately next year. That is the last date for 31st August. Similarly, where 85% of the receipts you are not able to spend, law is telling you accumulate, pass a resolution, accumulate. And invest in more specified in 11.5 read with 11.2 for which the due date is 31st of August. So Form 10 also, and all these should be uploaded electronically. No question of submitting to the jurisdictional assessing officer. Please remember the due dates, otherwise from this time amendments are made. and 30th June due date has gone. Even 21-22 you could have applied today, all charitable trusts, those renewal etc. But 30th June date is gone. They have been extending from 3 years. No more dates will be extended, sir.
Okay.
Now whatever you have not forgotten to renewal, it is out. Now you have to pay tax at maximum marginal rate. Those due date has gone. So therefore be careful. This charitable trust 11 to 13, registration, maintenance of books of accounts, all exemption at 11, 12, etc. subject to conditions to be complied by 11 to 13 only.
That means 30th June is the last date for applying renewal of this. Otherwise, maximum marginal rate. Correct, no?
You lose exemption because they have been extending from past 2 years since the new regime has come, sir, from 21.
Okay.
So what delay was there, you should have filed now.
Okay.
Any mistake is there, any delay is there, everything would have been condoned now.
We have one more caller now. Hello.
ಹಲೋ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್, ಪುರುಷೋತ್ತಮ್ ಕುಲಶೇಖರ್ ಮಂಗಳೂರು.
ಪುರುಷೋತ್ತಮ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕುಲಶೇಖರ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರು. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ?
ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಒಬ್ಬ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸರ್ವೆಂಟ್. ನಾನು 11 lakh ನಮ್ದು ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಇನ್ಕಮ್, ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಬಲ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ನಂದು ಇದಿದ್ದು ರೆಂಟ್, ಅದನ್ನು ಸಿ ಹತ್ರ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ. ಅದು ನನಗೆ ಬೇಸರ ಏನು ಸರ್, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ ಯಾವುದೇ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ಸ್ಗಳು ನನಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಬಲ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ಲಸ್ ನನ್ನ ಇನ್ಕಮ್, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ಗೆ ನನ್ನ ರೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸಾಗ ಸಿ ಹತ್ರ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ಬಟ್ ಸಿ ಫೀಸ್ ನನಗೆ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು 4,000 ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ. ಬಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ದಿ ರೆಸಿಪ್ಟ್. ಈಗ ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ ಪುರೈತರಿಗೆ 2 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, ಈ ಸಿಎಗಳು ನಮಗೆ ರೆಸಿಪ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ದು ಏನು ಉತ್ತರ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು.
ರಿಸಿಟ್ ಕೊಡದಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗಲ್. ಅದು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ರಿಸಿಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲೇಬೇಕು ನೀವು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ. ಎನಿಬಡಿ ಈಸ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್.
ಸರ್ ನಮ್ದು ಅದಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಈಗ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಸೇವಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಬೇಡ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ನನಗೆ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಎಂಬುದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ನಾನು ಮೆಡಿಕಲ್ ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಅದು ನನಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಮೆಥಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಇದು ಸರಿ ಆಗಬಹುದಾ ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ? ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ತರ ನಾವು ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿಯನ್ನೇ ಫುಲ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಬಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಬಲ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ 100% ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಮಗಳಿಗೆ 1.5 ಲಕ್ಷ ಫೀಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಅದು ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ CA ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಗೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ? ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 2 types ಆಫ್, ಅಲ್ಲ 2 ರಿಜಿಮ್. ಅಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಸಿಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 2 ರಿಜಿಮ್ಸ್. ಸಂಕೇತ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬ್ರೀಫ್. ಆಸ್ ಪರ್ ನ್ಯೂ ರಿಜಿಮ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದು ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಸಿಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಸ್ ಪರ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ರಿಜಿಮ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಎಸ್, ಈಗ ಒಂದೇನಂದ್ರೆ ರೆಂಟಲ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ, ರೆಂಟಲ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 30% ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. 100% ಆಫ್ ರೆಂಟ್.
Even that minus 2 lakh income, that set off also you will get. Yes. Under new regime also.
Under this one. So now major query may be, ಈಗ ನ್ಯೂ ರೆಜಿಮಿಗೆ ಅವರ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಮೋರ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಅದರ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ಸಿಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅವ್ರು ಇನ್ನೂ ಲಿಬರಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಮುಂಚೆ ಈಗ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 10 ಲಕ್ಷ ಮೇಲೆ 30% ಬರ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ತುಂಬಾ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸುಮಾರು ಹೈಯರ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ಸಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರು ಇನ್ ಕೆಲವು ಕೇಸಸ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್
ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ 1.5 ಲಕ್ಷ 80C ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ರಿಜಿಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಉಂಟು. ಮೆಡಿಕ್ಲೈಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆ ಮೆಡಿಕ್ಲೈಮ್ ಕೂಡ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಪ್ ಟು 25,000. ಸೀನಿಯರ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಪ್ ಟು 50,000. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವರು ಇದು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಪೆನ್ಷನ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮಿಗಾದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ 50,000 ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಉಂಟು. ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಲೋನ್ ತೆಗೆದು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು 80 ಈ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಉಂಟು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ದು
ಅವರೀಗ ಹೌಸ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಲೋನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಇದು ಅವ್ರ ರೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಅಲೌಡ್ ಟು ಎನಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಈವನ್ 2 lakhs ಅವರು ಆ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ.
ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಪ್ ಟು 2 lakhs.
ಲಾಸ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಪ್ ಟು 2 lakhs. ಬಟ್ ರೆಂಟಲ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಎಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಅದು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಉಳಿಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ದೋಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ಸ್.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನ್ಯೂ ರಿಜಿಮ್ ಆಲ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ರಿಜಿಮ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿಲೆಕ್ಟ್.
ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿತ್ತು ಮುಂಚೆ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್. Whereas there may be new persons who are joining their job who may ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹೊಸ ಮನೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ATC ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೇ ಸರ್ತಿ 1.5 ಲಕ್ಷ ಹಾಕ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಬಟ್ ಅವರು ದೇವರ್ ಎ ಡಿಸ್ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು. ವೆರಾಸ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಕೀಮಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್, ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ opt for getting into new scheme, or if you are not having any business income, ನೀವು ಯಾವ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲೂ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಬೆನಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್.
Okay. CA Naveen, what is your opinion about this house property loss of the current year under new regime? Can it be set up against other income?
Sir, regarding this house property interest, what you are telling, it is not allowed as a deduction from house property as per of 115 BAC.
That is the new regime, not allowed.
Not allowed. In case you want to claim deduction of interest on borrowed capital, then taxpayer must choose old tax regime in the return by selecting yes in ITR 1 or 2, or yes within the due date option in ITR 3, 4 or 5 in the field provided for opting out option in that ITR form.
After the due date, which regime will apply? New regime or old regime?
Now it is new.
By default,
Old regime they can't do.
In the current this one it is new. Until earlier year it was old regime, but from this filings which you are doing for this year, it is new regime which will be applicable. So whoever wants to take benefits of all these deductions, please be careful and make the filing before the due date of
After
filing.
due date, you will not be allowed to do under old regime.
Correct.
Only new regime.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else to be add?
Sir, as you rightly told, for new regime, 4 deductions are allowed. One is your 16IA standard deduction, then new pension scheme 80cc do, 80cc D subsection 2, then 80cch, that is Agniveer scheme, and 80JJAA, 80JJAA. Only these are allowed, nothing else is allowed. What is the background? The finance minister, discussion took place. Most of the salary taxpayers, you are all claiming and other payers also, taxpayers, you are claiming ATC 1.5 lakhs. You are just putting their 1.5 lakhs ATC. You are just putting their, ATG donation, etc. So all this, and in India, who gives donation? Is donation given voluntarily? The payers give donation and again get back the donation. So all this, what they have done is the finance minister has realized all this. So to this revenue pilferage, to plug that revenue pilferage, based on the report given by the government officials, they brought in this scheme. And you wait and watch over a period of time, the old regime itself will be removed from the statute.
Okay.
As and when the old regime is removed from the statute, what will remain is the new regime.
But when he earns 11 lakh salary, see the
Yes, sir.
tax rates are so much less under new regime. That
Yes, sir.
good thing nobody will point out.
Correct.
Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. That is the main problem here. So choice is given both under old regime and new regime. Selection is ours. Especially salaried class people, every year they can select whichever is there beneficial to them. In case of business,
Opt in and opt out.
okay.
Salary. Correct.
But in case of business SSCs, they can only once come in reverse gear. Once they come in reverse gear, then they cannot take up in the new.
That's correct. That is correct.
Correct, no?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Now it is time to wind up. Before closing our this, what are your today's sum up? What are the points for the SSCs and precautions to be followed? Can you just Sanket?
Yes. So in the past, maybe in certain cases you may have been subject to audit. So but currently, please check before 31st of July whether you will be subject to audit or whether 31st July will be your due date. Because in case 31st July is your due date, in certain cases these provisions are mandatory and not optional. I cannot choose to say that I will be subject to audit or not subject to audit. Whatever provisions are there in the law, I have to go as per that. Please check if 31st July is your due date, and in case it is your due date, make sure that if you can file your returns of income by then, that is the best case scenario. Even if you are not able to file your returns of income, please make sure that you can look at some of those compliances like your TDS payments or your 43B payments, so that you will be able to at least get these deductions even if you are filing your return after the due date.
Okay. So And one more advice is don't wait until the due date. Do it as early as possible so that all these tensions and what you can see,
Definitely.
you can
That
avoid
is the
all this
best
last
case
minute
provision.
rush. Okay. CA Naveen Khariwal,
Yes, sir. Now,
your takeaway message to our viewers.
Yes, sir. My dear friends, for heaven's sake, don't file the return without going through the details as per AIS and TIS in the portal. You please understand, India has reached where no country in the world has reached as of today. You have the income tax portal, there is AIS, there is TIS, there are 26 AS. Our assessment proceedings have become online now. There is faceless assessment, faceless penalty, faceless appeal, which no country in the world has achieved till today. For heaven's sake, AIS, TAS, what all information is there? I will just tell you. You sell mutual funds, details are there. You sell shares, details are there. You deposit money in bank, details are there. You withdraw money from bank, details are there. Your turnover details are there. Then you go abroad, any foreign remittances, those details are there. So your bank account details are there. Your dividend details are there. All these details are available on AIS and TIS. Please remember, without checking these details, for heaven's sake, don't file the return. One more important point. When I go to AIS, something concept is there, 135A of the Act. I will tell you how they are linked. 135A is telling faceless information. This faceless information, there is a wing of I&CI of the department. Intelligence and Criminal Investigation. What they are doing? Lot of information they are uploading on the portal. For example, cash deposit 1 crore. So that information is there in AIS. As a chartered accountant or as assessor, you are filing the return. It's your duty to respond to that. Suppose 10 lakhs dividend is received, message is there in that. You please write, yes, you accept, or this PAN does not belong to me, or it belongs to some other PAN. If you don't reply, you take it lightly. There is some bulb there which says this transaction has to mandatorily verified. You have to answer that. If you don't answer, example, 3 notices will come under 133(6), first, second, third. You don't reply to all 3, this becomes a faceless information under 135A of the Act, which will lead to reopening in the future years 148. See, I am going to get business. Additional business for me, not an issue, 148. But the client has to suffer unnecessarily. Because suppose, turnover is there 1 crore. Online it is showing 2 crores. You go and first disagree, sir. Don't accept. If it is 1 crore, you accept. 2 crores, don't accept. I mean, you disagree. If you don't disagree.
What are the penalty provisions and fines for delay in filing return and this?
Yes, sir. Action. So penalty provisions rightly pointed out, 271B for, non-audit in time, 1,50,000 or 5% of turnover, whichever is less.
0.5?
1,50,000.
Or 0.5% of the turnover?
Yeah, 0.5% of turnover, whichever is less, correct.
Okay. Then what about this delay in filing return fine?
Filing return, the government of the day is in a hurry. Earlier we used to file up to 31st of March. Now that beyond 31st July itself penalty. So based on the income limit, it is 5,000 and 1,000. Earlier we had penalty after March. Now after December you cannot revise the return also. What you can file is only updated return. So return 139.5, due date 31st December. Updated return thereafter.
If you don't file the return before due date, you cannot file revised return. And once you can't file the return, even after extended due date with the fine, then you have to file the updated return. In updated return, entire tax and interest of that within 1 year means 25% additional amount you have to pay. If it is more than 1 year, less than 2 years, 50% you have to pay. More than 2 years, gone. It is a concealment only.
Nothing can be done. So then what you have to do, you have to file a petition before 119(2)A and 2B in case of refund and tax. If it's a refund tax, 119(2)A, 2B, file before the PCIT. That at least what happens, suppose 148 is issued, I have filed I paid the self-return tax voluntarily and I filed a petition before the PCIT asking for condonation of delay.
Okay.
Those days are gone, sir. Belated return cannot be revised. All that is gone. Kumar Jagdish Chandra Sinha, Supreme Court, 220 ITR. Belated return can be revised, but they are telling time limits only up to 31st December, unless extended by the Prime Minister.
Okay. Very nicely you have disseminated knowledge with our viewers. Even though tax is a serious subject, you have not been very serious while explaining, but I wish that all the taxpayers, they should take it very serious.
I'm sorry to interrupt. One more point I wanted to let all the viewers know. 4 years back when our senior Nayak was the chairman of Mangalore branch, he had invited me, and then I was invited as a speaker, and I remember they had facilitated a 68-year-old fruit seller from Mangalore.
Correct.
He got Padma Shri award.
Correct.
From Mr. Modi.
Hajabba, Padmashri.
Down for felicitation. Harekala Hajabba.
Correct.
And I think, his primary earnings, just for 150 rupees per day, he built a primary school.
Correct.
And the Mangalore branch under his chairmanship had felicitated him. I remember that, sir, today.
Thank you very much for remembering all these good things, and thank you for part of that very cherishing, memorable event also. And CA Naveen Khariwal is always what we can say star player in our all ICI seminars, and I wish that you will be star player in our business tonic also in future for all direct tax matters. Now to brief, tax is a fine for doing well, whereas a fine is a tax for doing wrong. That's why don't do wrong, you may end up in paying fine. Warren Buffett says the best way of doing charity is to pay due taxes. Any charity, if you want to do, first to pay taxes. After paying taxes only you do charity. Otherwise what happens? Our Sarvajna says, Ullalli unalilla, Ullalli udalilla, Ullalli dana kodalilla, Ullalli dana kodalalladawa nadave, Kallage Rapage Sarvajna. So always pay your due taxes and pay tax and be fine, otherwise you will end up in fine. Anta helta, today this business tonic, we have lively interaction for 1 hour 40 minutes with our distinguished and rich resourceful resource person CA Naveen Khariwal from Bangalore, and CA Sanket S. Nayak from Bangalore, SS Nayak and Associates founder partner. Both of you, I from my bottom of my heart thank you very much for being with us and disseminating your valuable knowledge with our viewers. Thank you very much. ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೇ, ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದೆಯಾ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್, ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್? ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಈ ವಾರದ ಸಂಚಿಕೆ ಇದೇ ಬುಧವಾರ ರಾತ್ರಿ 9:30 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಮಗದೊಮ್ಮೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ 24/7 ಮರುಪ್ರಸಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ 274 ಸಂಚಿಕೆಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಒಂದು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಲಭ್ಯವಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಸರ್ವೇ ಜನಾಃ ಸುಖಿನೋ ಭವಂತು, ಸಮಸ್ತ ಸನ್ಮಂಗಳಾನಿ ಭವಂತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಐ ಆಮ್ CA SS Naik signing off.
ಭೀಮಾ ಬ್ರಿಲಿಯನ್ಸ್ ವಜ್ರಾಭರಣ ಮಹೋತ್ಸವ ಜುಲೈ 31ರವರೆಗೆ. ಪ್ರತಿ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಟ್ಗೆ 7,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿಯ ಖಚಿತ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಪಡೆಯಿರಿ ಮತ್ತು ವಜ್ರದ ಆಭರಣಗಳಲ್ಲಿನ ಚಿನ್ನದ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ಗ್ರಾಮ್ಗೆ ಫ್ಲಾಟ್ 500 ರೂಪಾಯಿಯ ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಆನಂದಿಸಿ. ಭೀಮಾ ಜುವೆಲರ್ಸ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಶೋರೂಮ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಲಭ್ಯವಿದೆ. ಷರತ್ತುಗಳು ಅನ್ವಯ.
ಬಿಸಿನೆಸ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಹೊಸ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ರೋಹನ್ ಸಿಟಿ.
ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ಸ್ಥಳಗಳ ಮೇಲಿನ ಹೂಡಿಕೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ 7.5% ನಷ್ಟು ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿಡ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್. ತಡ ಯಾಕೆ? ಈಗಲೇ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.